Hang on, hang on. Okay, there we go. Ready? Sorry, I had to turn the audio on.
Wait until the boss is ready.
I'll bring this Town of Vinalhaven Board of Selectmen's meeting to order for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. Number one, roll call. Motion. Oh, roll. Okay, my mind is not
Is this
here.
your first day on
Okay.
the job?
You're watching baseball.
I am. I'm already thinking of the crack of the bat, Tom. Tom Anthony, Lad Olson, Don Young, Leslie Dyer, myself, Elizabeth Bunker, and Marjorie Stratton. And we have a couple of things on the agenda. We are omitting 8A for tonight, and that will be moved to another meeting. And, yes.
The attorney hasn't given me comments on that airstrip lease either.
So you want me to remove that then? Okay, and also 8D, airstrip lease agreement and renewal. Tell Marjorie his back from legal. And then under new business 9A, we're moving that up to between 5 and 6. So, a motion to approve agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Approved minutes, number 3, approve the minutes from the May 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Approve and sign treasurer's warrant number 49.
So moved.
Second.
Number 5, communications, Marjorie.
Well, I just received a really nice email from Samantha Thompson complimenting the work that Bruce Groenick did on the cemeteries for Memorial Day. And I just thought it was important to pass it along.
And I had several people comment to me that what a good job he'd done, so that was nice to hear. So, okay. 9A, Vinalhaven Housing Initiative Tax Exemption Application. So we have Justin on Zoom here to discuss that, and you want to start that?
So it's not even necessarily that the Vinalhaven Housing Initiative tax exemption application is the topic, but it's just kind of what brought the topic to light, I guess. They had applied for exemption of a property they own and use for residential rental housing, or going to use for residential rental housing. And I informed them that it's generally not tax exempt unless it's federally subsidized or it's exclusively for the use of low income or disabled people. She then pointed out that there are other housing projects on the island that benefit from exemption that don't meet those standards. And so then I said, well, I have to be fair. So I wanted to present this to the board as to how they'd like me to address kind of that type of property. So the thing about residential rental housing owned by nonprofits is that there's no solid answer to this question. It was asked to the Supreme Court of Maine in the Marcotte decision. They just avoided answering the question. They could have answered it. They could have settled this for everybody, but they avoided answering it. And in the statutes, it pretty clearly exempts federally subsidized housing at 50%. So the idea is that, if federally subsidized housing is only exempted 50%, and there's no specific exemption for residential rental housing that's not for those three purposes, then kind of why would we exempt property that's not federally subsidized more than we exempt properties that are federally subsidized? So I reached out to a few of my older statesman assessors as well, and just made sure I wasn't losing my mind, and that's kind of how the general understanding and treatment is for tax purposes. That being said, there are towns that do exempt residential rental housing owned by nonprofits just for the just solely for the fact that they want to promote affordable housing in the nonprofit sector. So my inclination or my opinion would be that neither of the properties are exempt, and no properties that are owned by nonprofit organizations that are used for residential rental housing that isn't for exclusively for low-income, disabled, or federally subsidized housing wouldn't meet that qualification. So I leave that kind of question to you guys as how you want me to treat all of those classes of property. It's not specifically to the Vinalhaven Housing Initiative. It's just kind of those types of properties that are for, that don't have a specific charitable and benevolent exemption in the statutes, but do kind of meet the general idea of wanting to provide affordable housing.
Questions?
So we already have houses that are tax exempt, properties that are tax exempt on the books now?
It's only the Community Housing of Maine.
Yeah.
That's the only one. The Harborside and Carver's is taxed fully.
Yeah,
So would the, what is it, Community Housing of Maine, you said? Is that one? Will you, they would be informed that they would not be tax exempt anymore? Just,
Yeah, so I'd send them a letter stating that the previous acceptance of their application was probably made in error, and I'd give them the opportunity to kind of make the case as well. And, I think for me, it's pretty cut and dry, and for all the assessors, I wish the Supreme Court would have just said that residential rental housing that's not for low-income people only is not exempt, but they just dodged the answer altogether. So so I would give them that opportunity to address the situation.
okay. Ellen?
I believe Community Housing of Maine, it does have income restrictions, and our property, the housing initiative property that was Bunge's, that has two low people in it that qualifies under the Maine housing income restrictions. Our property is restricted by deed with Knox County at the courthouse for 45 years for various income brackets, 50% of the median income, 80%, and then there's one apartment allowed for 120% of area median income, and it's based on family size. So it's a complicated formula that changes every year, but we're restricted. We have to report to Maine Housing. They're very strict guidelines. We have to assure them that we're meeting their guidelines, otherwise we could lose the grant money, which was $840,000, and have to repay it. And it was a grant that's federal money that's administered by the state of Maine for this one-time Maine Island affordable housing initiative. We're a 501c3, federally and state recognized, and we got an exemption to allow workforce housing, which is a higher income, because the select board, I think it was 2023, I have a copy of it here, signed that we were alleviating a government burden, meaning town burden in supplying housing, which the community wants.
And
So
I would offer that I agree with everything she said. Like I don't disagree with any of that. It's just statutorily it does not fit that because it's not federally subsidized, and it's not.
It is federally subsidized.
Well, the statute though states the meaning of federally subsidized is that the rents are federally subsidized. So like a Section 8 housing. And I don't disagree that it benefits your community, and I believe it does relieve some burdens from government in order to provide housing that the town may otherwise have to provide. Again, I don't disagree with any of that, and I'm happy to exempt that class of properties if the board would like to go in that direction. I just, on situations like this, I know there are often, local reasons to kind of look in the gray areas of the statute in order to provide for an exemption that otherwise doesn't meet the standards, I would say.
I have a question.
Yes, Ashley.
So what you're saying in terms of the federal funding is that the rent that is paid is part of that is federally funded?
Like Section 8.
Like Section 8, okay, all right. So it's not the grant, it's the actual rent that's being paid is
Right.
subsidized.
Yeah, and on the income portion, like it would have to be exclusively for low income, federally accepted low income standards. So even having one unit that's not in that low income bracket, that's a workforce bracket would in most of the situations that I've dealt with would prevent them from doing that. One of the things in the Marcotte decision of the Maine Supreme Court said that if any portion of it doesn't meet the definitions for exemption, then the property as a whole doesn't meet the definitions for exemption. So they were pretty strict on that. That was more related to the releasing doctors' offices that actually saw their own residents go to them, but because the doctor was a for-profit doctor that they leased to, it made all of the entire building, including all of their rental units, not qualify for exemption.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Tom?
So the statutes being what they are, that doesn't preclude the board from granting a tax exempt status for this organization, is that correct?
Well,
Just to clarify, in this town, we have a single appointed assessor. Okay.
so if we were going to be technical, I would say yes, the statute's pretty specific that a town cannot vote its own exemption. I guess what I would say is I'm just looking for guidance from the board when making my decision as to whether or not a strict interpretation is what you would like from me. I don't know how to say this without getting any of us in trouble. But
Understood.
if I'm making the decision solely on statutory definitions and case law from the Maine Supreme Court, I would say that neither of these properties are exempt. However, I also have some discretion as an assessor as to whether or not it meets the standards. And I guess I'm just looking for guidance from this board as to whether or not you would like me to sway one way or the other in that discretion.
Don had his.
Don?
If he's, I'm a little concerned about setting precedent, and are we doing so here? What are we opening up if we do this? Or is there not event?
Well, I mean, I would offer that we've already set the precedent. I mean, I guess that's what's making this harder than it would normally be for me, in that there's already a property that's similarly situated that is exempt and has been exempt for a number of years. It doesn't mean you continue in error if that's not kind of what the will of the.
And that's my concern.
Yeah, that's my concern also, is what, do this exemption, how, let's just say someone else doesn't come in and say, well, I'm just doing workforce housing, and, I think if anything, we should try to correct the error of this other property.
But isn't the other property income-based?
If it's not federally subsidized, though,
I see.
their rent is not federally subsidized, correct, Justin? At the community, what is the name of it again?
Community Housing of Maine.
Thank you.
The Hillside Apartments.
The Hillside Apartments, yes.
I have not reached out to them yet, so I don't know that for sure, but from all indications are that it's not Section 8 housing and it's not solely limited to low income.
Okay, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was, but
Ellen,
You can't get Section 8 vouchers now. It is like a 4-year waiting list.
Well, I don't know if that has anything to do with this, what we're talking about right now, but if the statute reads a certain way, and that's how Justin is interpreting it, and we already have, clearly have one place that's getting
Revaluation.
exempt, tax exempt. I don't think it would be a good idea for the town to continue granting exemptions if we're, according to what Justin is saying. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I understand where you're coming from, because I know how hard you work with this project, and I think you're doing a great job, but
Thank you. But we want to do more projects, and if we have to raise money to pay taxes instead of to build housing, that's gonna be a real problem.
But if it's not in the statute, if it's
I think Justin said he had latitude or
a
flexibility,
guidance from the board,
right?
yes. And I am getting the inclination that the consensus might be the board would not be in favor of granting more exemptions, but we'll have to check. I thought you wanted to say something,
Do you
Andrea,
mind
that's,
if I do?
if you make it brief.
I will make it brief. From the moment I got here, all I've heard is that housing is our #1 crisis. And it is unbelievable to me that you guys would not take an opportunity to incentivize and help organizations that are providing exactly the kind of housing that we need. I just,
Okay, thank you. Justin, I'm not real comfortable to make a motion on this tonight. I
No,
want to think about
I would
this.
also add that it's not a motion from the board. It really is just kind of a feeling of how I was looking for a feeling of how the community feels about it, and also kind of how the town treats it now. And as long as you guys are okay with me picking an argument with two people at this point rather than just one, because I can't continue an exemption for the other property that's similarly situated if I do not exempt this property. So it will be both properties that we're talking about down the line. And I believe, do you guys have a Board of Assessment review there?
It's the county, yeah, the county Board of Assessment review, yeah.
So again, I'm not the final arbiter. What I would offer though is if I'm gonna go ahead and assess these, I would also maybe put a little money in an account for abatement. And I don't think either property is a huge amount anyway. As long as you have some monies in an account to cover abatements, because as much as I appreciate the work that county commissioners do and county boards do, they're often very they're not always statute guided, they'll say. So just you know, they do have that right to appeal my decision, and that's the way that would go.
Well,
can I, I'm
This
sorry,
is a
can I
lot.
ask one other quick question of Justin?
yes,
It would
quickly.
only ever go to bar if somebody challenged it, and only the property owner can challenge it, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
So why would either of these entities go and fight a lenient decision that allows them to continue to operate?
Oh, no, I'm talking about like if I make them taxable, I'm sure that at least one, if not both, would take it to a board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, certainly, we don't want to get into a dogfight over this, that's for sure, but I would like to think about this some more and get some more time to figure it out. I mean, it's all,
Yeah, I mean, we have all the way up until tax commitment. It's only one button I have to push, so it's not a big deal for me. It's to you know, if you guys need some time to think about it or ask, you know, think of any other questions you'd like to ask me.
Don.
What might help is if we knew a little bit more about the organization, how it's structured, what's your guideline, what are your goals on this one? Because I think we are very concerned about setting precedent. So is there a way to get there?
I have all that.
Ellen gave us that information one time
And
ago.
because I don't really know what you're doing down there currently.
I sent all the documents to Justin. I sent them all to you via Darlene last Thursday. So you should have our bylaws, our articles of incorporation, our 501c3 from the federal government, the state government, the resolution by the previous Board of Selectmen saying we're meeting a community need. And we got an exemption within that. To get a 501c3 for housing, you have to meet the Safe Harbor guidelines, which is a federal law. But you can get an exemption if you're meeting a community need to do not just low and middle income housing, which I know is something that we all need, but we also need workforce housing. So we got a special exemption because of the paper the selectmen signed in order to do workforce housing. Because we know that's a need, we've heard that repeatedly. So we're trying to meet all these needs and we're doing our very best. And it's really a struggle. I mean, we got this one grant and we're lucky that we got that, and because of the zoning and because of the LG 2003 that allows for ADUs on residential lots, we're able to have 3 units of housing on that one property with town water and sewer. But it's going to be a heavy lift to create more housing out here. And we're all committed to it. We have a really great board. We have a lot of community support. But if this gets any harder than it already is, I don't know if we can really carry on, to be honest. This is really hard. Nobody seems to want to have Penquist or any other developer who's much more able to create housing and on a much larger scale than we can ever do. So if we're going to try to do this ourselves for the community, we need help. We need your help.
I don't, just to dispute one thing, I don't think that we necessarily don't want Penquist. It was just mostly that it was like, you give us the town garage, and that was not an option for the town at that point. You know, that's what I remember about having Penquist come over. So, anyway.
Speaking of Penquist, I'm having the same debate with Penquist at the moment. So I will say it wouldn't matter which one it was, but.
Well, it is a hard decision, but I still would like to have a little bit more time to think about this. What do you guys want to do?
I'd like to see if there's an option we could, a workaround that we could avoid having, but provide the aid, but not establish the precedent.
Well, it's already been established, according to Justin, because the apartments over there are already,
They don't meet the standard either, so.
right, so
Yeah.
they're already tax exempt. And erroneously, as he said,
For now, until he
so,
reevaluates.
I just don't want to see it end up in a court battle. I think that's not a good way to go. Marjorie?
So did you all get those documents or
I
not?
don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
housing initiative, yeah, I saw those in the beginning, yes.
Okay. Does anybody need me to send them
It's
to
been a
you?
while
And
now,
Ellen
but-
has given us all of that in the numerous meetings that she's attended, trying to get this off the ground too.
Okay,
I just like to be able to sit down and see, look at it and have a chance to look at it again, I guess, but I don't remember seeing it the first time. That doesn't mean I didn't see it, I just don't recall it.
Did you just send them to Darlene?
I sent them last Thursday so that
She-
they would be in the
She
packet on
doesn't
Friday.
tend to the selectmen, so she
Excuse me?
probably doesn't, Darlene doesn't do, I do the administrative.
Well-
So she may not have sent them because she didn't know. Just
It was-
that may be why they didn't receive them for this meeting, is all I'm saying.
Oh, for this meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, for this meeting, no. I
Yeah.
didn't. I'm talking about like in the beginning formations,
Right.
those documents. I
Yeah.
thought that's what we were.
I can get them, I'll get them and forward them, yeah.
And I would offer, I don't think it's specific to Vinalhaven Housing Initiative either. So like, I mean, I don't,
It was great.
if you're looking for something in their documents, there isn't anything that changes the situation necessarily. And not that I don't agree with everything she said, that it is greatly beneficial to the town and probably one of your biggest needs, and helps you guys. it's just the type, it's the situation of occupancy and not being federally subsidized rents. It's really kind of where it lies. And like I said, there are, so I'll give a little story. When I was the assessor in Bar Harbor, the yacht club was exempt. And it was not my decision. It was made before I got there. So I brought it up as to why are we exempting the yacht club? And basically they said, because they're a 501c3, and they provide a little bit of community support, with the high school or something like that. And I was like, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean they should be exempt from taxation, when they're renting out all these moorings and stuff. And I let it go because, it's really a town's, in my opinion, it's a town's prerogative to kind of decide what's beneficial to their community. So, I don't think the board should make a decision because it's not your decision to make. But if any of you'd like to come in and ask any questions, I'll be in town tomorrow. And I think just kind of a general consensus of how you guys feel is what I'm looking for. And I'm happy to make the decision on my own. And I don't think it would ever come to a court battle. I think, it would stop at the county commissioners. I don't think the town would want to chase anything after the county commissioners hearing. So there wouldn't be really any cost there. They probably have a nominal fee to go to the county commissioners or something like that.
When will you be coming back to the island, Justin? Not tomorrow, but after that.
So 2 weeks after tomorrow.
So that would be the day after our next meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not-
18th.
I'm also
I'm
going
not-
to come on like a Friday between so like the 13th I would be available as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, so I would like to visit with you and talk with you about this, if I might, when you come out on the 13th.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And I'll let you, I haven't looked at my calendar, but I assume I can be there on the 13th anyway.
Okay. Any other questions? All set? You want to postpone this for a couple of weeks and give us a chance to mull this all over and see where we're going?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Appreciate all you do, really.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, that's what we'll do then. We'll wait and talk about it in 2 weeks.
You guys have any other questions for me?
I think we're all set right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye. 6, speakers from the floor. Number 7, committee and departmental reports and appointments. Gabe, 7A, downtown project.
Hi, everyone.
Gabe.
Updates. Hi. Updates from the downtown project. So, in order to accommodate some additional bidders for the stormwater, road, and water projects, the bid opening deadlines for those have been extended to Wednesday, June 18th. The water district building bid opening, however, is still scheduled for tomorrow, and that's at 2 p.m. So I will be there, and Mike Ames from Maine Water will be there. I know Marjorie and Pam are otherwise obligated elsewhere. So yeah, we'll report back, and we'll hear from Woodard and Curran as well. So we'll see. Supposedly there are a number of bidders for that project, so that's good news. And we'll just have to see what it comes in terms of the price that we get. So and yeah, and then just now it's just waiting till the 18th for the opening of the other bids. We're moving forward with some additional say sort of final pieces for the boat ramp project, which essentially is done and ready to go with the exception of an Army Corps of Engineers permit. And then there's a submerged lands lease that we have to work on. So just trying to get some, further details about that so we can move that forward and not delay that much longer. So I'm trying to get a sense from Woodard and Kern regarding the Army Corps permit and these other pieces. But anyway, just one step at a time, trying to make progress. We still want to get that out to bid as soon as we can, with the idea that that boat ramp project could happen this year.
Gabe, I didn't understand that if the town already has a lease for that submerged land, why do they have to does it have to be just renewed, or is
I
it
guess
not?
the idea is that we don't have a lease for the boat ramps as submerged lands. Is Marjorie, was that your understanding as well? Is like we just don't have this lands lease for the boat ramps.
The one that they're talking about is the ramp and float down by the ferry terminal, right?
No. Oh, the crib, yes. Yeah, not there's one piece of talking about the crib and the dolphin pieces down at the ferry terminal. Yes.
But then my file showed old leases for boat ramps, but apparently they're looking for something other than what I have in my files for submerged lands. I can say that 3 times, submerged lands leases.
I
Yeah,
didn't understand that
we're
in our
just, I
meeting.
think there's Marjorie has some documents, but there's no clear documentation that there is like a signed bill of sale or any sort of clarity around the transfer of ownership of the former state ferry pen to the town. Like Marjorie, you have that document that has like a conditional bill of sale, and then there's a delay on that for the school construction to be able to use that pen, but then there was nothing found after that. So I think we're at a point where we need to go to the state and see what exists in terms of that documentation, so we can then pursue the application for the submerged lands permit for that infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, like that's part that doesn't relate to the downtown project. That's, just we're doing that while we're doing the other boat ramp submerged lands. And those pieces like Woodard and Kern is, I think, mostly taken care of. We just have to sign some things. But that's a process, so.
Everything's a process.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Like there's.
I was like, Gabe has done such a good job getting us through all these hoops, and now we have 7 more hoops. So
Yeah, it's like never ending.
never ends.
Keep turning over the no stone unturned. Well, I think well, whatever. All we can do is just the next thing in front of us, and that's what we're doing. So it gets us closer. And in terms of everything else being ready to go for the boat ramps, it's just these final pieces. So we'll keep working on it. I think that's what I have on the downtown project. Marjorie or Pam, can you think of anything else that we need to report out on? I think we're just waiting.
I know Mike Ames will be at the bid opening, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Any questions from anyone?
Want to move on to the brick grant update?
Sure.
7B.
Yeah, so I sent the memo regarding the brick grant, and I think So the status is like Vinalhaven has this grant. We've done a couple reporting periods of just saying, hey, we have this grant. We haven't done anything. We haven't spent any money. But we haven't said explicitly that we don't want it. And I've been really sort of on the fence as to whether, is it in the town's best interest to use this money? Is it not? How could we use it without putting the town at risk? I've proposed some things. I think if, if the board, wants to pursue this, I think what I would need to do is, I would need to work on figuring out cash flows on my end because I would be carrying the burden as the contractor for the project. So, but I'm willing to pursue that if we're looking at this as like, well, this is potential $300,000 that the town can take advantage of in planning. Do we want to try to do that? And I think it's a matter of sort of like, having the risk tolerance, but then understanding like, okay, like the town doesn't want to take the risk, so how could we maybe make it work? Or we can just walk away from it too, or just keep pressing pause and not make a decision at this point. I just didn't want to let it go and, have us, I don't say we're not going to forget about it, but anyway, putting it out there, seeing what questions or thoughts you have, and maybe you have strong opinions already one way or the other, but.
Well, even though it's a drawdown, you have option to mitigate this risk. Resilient communities can delay cashing town checks until reimbursement is received, which makes sense. And that way, it kind of guarantees that no money will be spent until we get the reimbursement from the grant.
Yeah, I mean, and if you all think that's the direction you want to go in, like I said, I can just, figure out, like, is that realistic and feasible on my end? I mean, can I manage that level of cash flow? So,
Personally, I think in these times right now, I would be hesitant to expect anything from FEMA.
I tend to agree.
I as well.
Maybe
So things
after,
kind of settle out.
yeah. So I think that we should just put either a pause or walk away.
pressing
or
pause. Okay.
Press pause, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that a
that's fine.
consensus?
It's good to know because we do have another reporting period coming up at the end of this month. So, just to have that level of clarity, I can just keep checking in with our program or our grant administrator and just say, hey, is it, how long can we not really report that we've been active?
Right.
Before, but as far as I will continue to obviously, as Marjorie and I get their updates whenever they send one. They haven't sent anything new in a while. And I do check in with other main communities, like North Haven has one of these grants now that they're actively using, and I know I've reported that on that in this memo as well as in other updates that I've given. That they didn't receive funding for a long time, but then FEMA was like doing a manual review or like a one at a time review of all of the reimbursement requests from communities that were taking forever. They submitted one in December and it was like April and they still hadn't gotten it. But then they did receive it finally, and then they submitted another one and they got it within 30 days. So, I think things are looking up, but I'll just continue to stay apprised of how it's looking for other communities. But I think, the thing is like what you're saying is like, I agree with, anything could change. So, every month someone is at risk of not getting paid.
Well, especially, I mean, theirs was probably prior to, the new administration, so it was promised, already allocated to them, so.
Well, ours was too, technically. We just they were a little earlier, but we still fall in the same category as they do. I double checked on that. We're like, we were awarded and had technically started, according to the grant agreement. So, we do fall into a category of you can proceed with this project, you just can't request more time to do it. And, at this point, like our agreement, it goes until September of 2027. So that's still a ways away.
Yeah, yep, push the pause button.
Yep. Okay. Okay. No, that's really helpful. And I'll just, I'll continue to check in with you if I learn more and just we'll stay apprised of what's happening with it.
Okay. All right,
All right. Well,
thanks.
thank you all. That's very helpful.
Yeah, thanks, Gabe. 7C, Public Works. Nothing, you just sent your report.
Everything in the reports,
Just plugging away up
plugging
there.
away at everything.
I just have one question. When is when do you start with the,
David,
yeah?
Monday,
Oh, okay, good. Hopefully you have good weather.
fingers crossed, no more rain.
You all set? Okay, moving on to 8, old business. 8B, land use ordinance schedule fees.
This is just the final document. We wanted to give you a clean document to approve.
Oops.
Does anybody have? This is as it was discussed at the last meeting.
Right.
Just need a
Just need a
motion to
motion?
approve.
Yeah. Yep, that's that. Make a motion that we accept the schedule of fees for the Vinalhaven land use ordinance.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Let's get rid of that thing. What I was looking at that for. 'Cause my brain's not here. 8C, parking ordinance draft.
This was as discussed at the last meeting. We wanted to just give you a red line version of the things that you wanted added to the parking ordinance.
Okay.
Eight, just for clarification, section 8's the only new one.
Yeah.
9 and 10, I just brought up from the bottom because they kind of didn't belong where they were, so.
Section 7. Yeah, they. You guys all set with that? Oh, Millie.
I'm not sure, I don't recall seeing, but I don't think there's any limit parking signs on Main Street, or I know there's none in the front parking lot. I can't put posts in there, but I could put some signs for the limit of parking on at least telephone poles if I just have to talk to our company about it. Is that something I should maybe do?
Yeah. Yeah, because there's nothing there about
There's
the,
nothing about the 2 hour.
And section 7. Unlawful to park an occupied motor vehicle in the town parking lot between the hours of 11 and 5.
I could put something on, some, I don't know, I'll figure that one out.
Spray paint it on the eagle.
Just make it hold a sign.
Give it some
Sling around
use.
his neck.
Give it a necklace with a sign on it, done.
See, easy peasy. All right, you want a motion for that?
Second,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
What's wrong?
Margie, did you get a chance to check on the, postings for no parking, what was required, or what was adequate? We talked the other day very briefly after the meeting, you were gonna check to see the legal requirements on parking sign, whether
You have to have something posted if it's, is that what you
posted-
mean?
Yeah,
Yes,
posted where?
on the street.
That's in the MUTCD book, is,
So it says no parking?
Yes.
'Cause
We
I-
have to explain where the no parking is.
Yeah,
Is that what, am I answering your question? I'm sorry.
because my concern was that we have a lot of out-of-town people coming in, out of state, and unless it's very explicit, that it's a no parking area, you may find confusion. So I didn't know if there was any guidance that was,
Yes.
that addressed that, and if so, what was that guidance?
so manual on uniform traffic control devices, is a federal, system that we have to follow with the size of the signs, the height of the signs, the setback of the signs and where they can be located. So, I mean, I think we're doing everything the way we should. Some of them get stolen as quickly as we put them up.
So we are gonna have signs then?
We have
We have
signs all over the
Oh,
place.
the no parking
No
on the
parking
main
signs.
street.
Oh, on Main Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
The hour, the 2 hour on Main Street in front of the parking lot, no overnight in the parking lot of the people in the vehicle. And then we're putting signs, from the old fire hall, up through by George Harrison's, building, to no parking on that side of the street.
So they are gonna be posted, no parking signs. Good.
So it goes
That was
from
my
the,
question.
from the parking lot to the clamshell alley.
Correct.
Okay.
And then Clamshell Alley up,
Street.
because the parking ordinance is from the parking lot to Water Street,
Oh, okay, so that will be,
all posted no parking.
okay. Okay,
Yeah, it's gonna,
yeah,
I do think that, like, as far as I look at, like, Jeannie Bean and the sandbar, and there should be exceptions for them when they're loading and unloading freight, that's nothing that, I mean, they need to be able to get to their front doors, it's the only real access they have,
Right.
so, I would make sure that that's taken care of as far as loading and unloading only. Also, if somebody had a person in need that couldn't walk that far that needed to be dropped off, they could certainly do that. But there would be.
yeah, oh, yeah.
What if you're getting loaded at the sandbar?
I'll let you know.
Parking on-
You'll be
not-
unloaded.
You'll be unloaded and then walking home.
You'll be in the compound.
Right?
All right, so, you want me to make a motion to accept this then, folks, you ready? Okay, I make a motion that we accept the Vinalhaven parking ordinance as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, good, we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, okay, that's done. 9, new business. B, CEO resignation. And did you have motions written? Oh, thank you. Thank you. We have a resignation from Faye Grant As of June 26, 2025, I will be resigning from the position of Code Enforcement Office. I will stay on as the LPI until a replacement has been found. I wanted to give the town ample time to find my replacement. I would like to introduce the new CEO to the Midcoast CEO Association members. The last meeting before the summer break is on June 25th. I have enjoyed working for the town in the position CEO LPI. If you have any questions, you can give her a call. Are there any questions?
Yeah, do we have to accept that resignation? I would propose we don't accept it.
I would say no. She wants to resign. I would suggest that we accept her resignation.
I think she does a really good job, and I'm not quite sure of all the concept, the behind the scenes stuff, so I just think that we ought to think about this a little bit. This is gonna be a hard position to replace. It's a tough job, and I think that she has the mentality behind it, and personally, I think she does a pretty good job. But I would hate to see her resign.
Well, when somebody gives their resignation, and I'm assuming that means that they want to resign from their position. She's certainly not being forced to resign. It's her decision to make.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna see her go, but if she wants to resign,
So I'm gonna make a motion to accept Faye Grant's resignation as Code Enforcement Officer and Local Plumbing Inspector as of June 26, and to appoint the Planning Board as Interim Code Enforcement Officer and Banner Moffett as Local Plumbing Inspector as of June 27th, and to authorize the town manager to advertise for a new CEO and LPI.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Thank you.
Can I have that motion?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Thank
Number 10, report of town manager.
So we had a discussion at the last meeting about trying to reinvigorate the Maine State Ferry Service the Tariff Advisory Committee. And I did send a message to those members that we currently have. And then 2 of them promptly resigned. So I'm just wondering where to go with this committee. I mean, it's basically a group of people that we want to get together and recommend amendments to the ferry tariff. And I sent you all copies of the island-specific parts of the tariff so that you could familiarize yourself with those. And the opportunity to amend the tariff doesn't come along often, but, you know, we need, unless the selectmen want to take that upon themselves, you know, it's nice to have a group of people that is specific to that task. So I only had, I didn't hear from 2 of the people, and 1 is really interested in keeping it going. I think, in thinking about this group, I'm not sure how to reform. I mean, we want to have people that, as you say, have skin in the game, but then, you know, we also want people that can be objective about it. I mean, we have our fishing community, we have Beans, and then we have the co-op that need access to the ferry to ship our lobsters. I mean, that's our local economy. We have the grocery store with their truck coming and going. We have oil trucks and bunkers that carries essential freight constantly back and forth. And one of the thoughts was, well, do we need to get those people together, you know, to talk about what we need in the tariff? But then, you know, is that, can that group be objective about what each other's wants and needs are? So I guess I'm looking for some guidance from you on how to get a group together, to get the best possible result. I've been thinking about it a lot, and in the past, I mean, we used to rely on Tiny a lot, because he was always going back and forth on the ferry with this truck and that truck, and he really had a good sense of what we needed to have in the tariff. The island-specific portion has not been, I mean, the substance of it has not really been amended for some time. I'd like to have some people that can look at it and be objective and think about all of the truck traffic that we have. Because basically that's what it is, how to get our freight and our trucks back and forth and our lobsters. I'm just wondering if any of you have any ideas about how to reform this group. And
Have you advertised?
Oh, I'm sorry, Glenn, go ahead.
Well, I mean, my idea of it first would be maybe throw something in the wind, but then also reach out to those parties you just listed that, are gonna be most affected, to see if they wanna participate. And then it would be good to get some other community, someone who doesn't have skin in the game too.
yeah,
On there, but definitely the people that are gonna be affected.
Who's on the committee now, Marjorie?
Chet and Cheryl Warren, Evan Brown, and Alan Barker, and Roxanne Tolman, but Evan and Alan resigned.
But the Warrens are still a part of it then?
I
Can't get in touch with them?
yeah, communication has been difficult.
Yeah, I think I agree with Lad to put something advertised in the wind.
And then on top of that, specifically reach out to the 5 or 6 major stakeholders.
I mean,
in that thing.
it's an important
It is.
issue to the island.
I think it'd be very difficult to find somebody who doesn't have stake in the game, that had a good understanding of stake in the game.
Right, that's what I mean.
So-
In my
No,
head,
you could do Chet and Cheryl.
Right.
That's a good example. They had skin in the game. They're no longer owners. They have if like Tiny was here, he would be someone
Right,
that doesn't have skin in the game, but has great knowledge.
right.
No, that's gonna
Yeah.
be,
That's gonna be a challenge to find that person now, probably.
maybe not. I mean, I don't think it's that gonna be as hard as you think.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, you just need
I'll
someone,
just move forward
yeah.
with your suggestions and, anyway. The other thing is that you wanted to talk about my contract?
I just wanted to have them look at that.
Okay.
So I didn't know if they had copies of the contract.
So my contract is up at the end of June. I thought we had just decided not to have another contract, that I would just go year by year, but if you want something, I guess it's
Yeah.
up to the board.
Well, that's, yeah, we were just discussing it the other day, and I said, I wanna make sure if you guys are comfortable with her just going from year to year without a contract. I thought we had discussed it a few months ago before she went on vacation,
Yeah, we did.
and it seemed that we were
Comfortable without a
amenable
contract.
to that. What's that, Don?
And I'm very comfortable without a contract.
Yeah. So if the
As long as
consent,
she's comfortable with all the contract.
oh, she's very comfortable.
She's not going anywhere.
She's staying right here. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanna make sure that it's discussed and approved by us,
Yeah.
or the consensus is that, it's fine for her to continue.
You have the shackles I gave you, just in case. Yeah.
Oh, it's a
It's
lot,
under her desk when she goes and sits down.
Yeah.
there's a lot to do, so. When things calm down, then she can
think about it.
what she
When
wants to
things
do.
calm down. She's funny. That's funny.
Okay, anything else? Marjorie, you all set?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. And report of members? Seeing none? Okay, good. 12? I know, I want to go to the ball game.
I had something, but I'm not gonna say it.
Don't you say a
I'm
word.
not
Oh, on
gonna.
second thought, no.
Wait a minute.
I want to go to the ball game, so Lad, number 12, adjourn?
Yep.
All in
Second.
favor? Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry to have been,
You're so pushy.
oh, I just want to say one quick thing. I want to thank Faye for her, work that she's done in service, and happy retirement.
Yes.